I get it, believe me, I really do. It can be scary. The idea of upending your life, of striking out on your own, of charting your own path. What if I can't pay the bills? What if I end up homeless? What if my partner gets fed up with it and just leaves me? And most of all, what if I fail? These and thousands of other similar questions ran around in my head rent-free for years, and to be honest, they still do sometimes. The fears, the insecurities, the self-doubts, they're all still there, albeit to a lesser degree than they used to be. With the person that I am, they honestly will probably never be completely gone, but I've made somewhat of a peace or truce with them. But you know what isn't there anymore? Questions like, I wonder what it would be like if I tried. I wonder if I could. I wonder how it would feel to be living life on my own terms, the way that I truly want to live. While I'm not 100% there myself, I'm immeasurably further along towards that than I was even 5 years ago. And I'm here to tell you, you can be too. Now, just to be clear, I'm not telling anyone out there to blow up your life tomorrow, quit your job immediately, and to just wing it. We all need a plan. And as a sidebar, if you're an anxiety-prone ADHD, ASD person like I am, taking time to set forth some kind of plan can be the difference from pushing through your fears versus them pushing you over and killing your dreams. But I digress. I am, however, advocating for you to consider this one simple idea: risking it all in order to truly love your life. So pull up a chair, settle in for a bit, and welcome. Hi, welcome to the Diary of an Anxious Therapist. I'm your host, Ben France. I'm a licensed professional counselor and life coach who struggled with anxiety for my whole life. I'm also a musician, a writer, and a lifetime learner who thoroughly enjoys sharing what I learn and what I'm passionate about. With this podcast, my hope is to provide some insight, some information, and maybe even some interventions related to anxiety, finding and expressing creativity, and finding purpose and meaning in your life. I'll be using my own life experiences, along with things that I've learned in nearly a decade of being a mental health professional, to bring you content that is helpful, meaningful, and hopefully a bit entertaining. If you like what you hear, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast through your favorite podcasting platform. And if you really want to do me a favor, leave a review. 5 stars are appreciated if you do feel so inclined. That being said, let's go ahead and dive into today's episode. Note, this is the first in a multi-part series of shorter episodes on making changes in your life. This is just the intro to this multi-episode series, so more episodes with additional information will be following. Just do it. Go for it. No fear. YOLO. We hear these and a myriad of other catchy phrases telling us to pursue our dreams constantly. Our society, at least at the surface level, seems to romanticize these ideas, seemingly telling us all that we can do whatever we want, whenever we want, and however we want with no limits. Yet, if you dig just below the surface, you often find a very different message. A message that says things like conform. In order to be successful, you must do, you must buy, or you must possess X, Y, or Z thing. How's your credit score? You're going to college, right? You've been an adult for 2.3 seconds, so why don't you own a home? Why don't you have a mortgage? Why don't you buy this shiny thing? And most of all, why don't you want adulation from everyone else for everything that you do? Looking at these two things together, there's more than a little bit of conflict, I'd say. Wouldn't you agree? On one hand, you get go for it. But on the other hand, your response you get when you go for it is no, not that way. That's not acceptable. That's not what you should want. On their own, these two factors alone could be enough to nearly paralyze anyone. But factor in our needs for safety, security, and perceived certainty, and it's a wonder that humanity has ever produced people that have had the courage to break the mold, to strike out, and to do anything differently. For every John Lennon in our history, there have been countless miserable Wall Street bankers. And for every Taylor Swift, there are immeasurable numbers of Swifties toiling away in dead-end jobs that feel meaningless and soul-sucking, and yet we do it, day in and day out. So, why do we do it? Why do we allow ourselves to dream big dreams, yet prevent ourselves from pursuing them? Why don't we go all in on ourselves? What keeps us in that dead-end job, that unfulfilling slog, that daily grind that we say that we want to break free from, and yet we never seem to be able to? 2 things, in my opinion, play into this: fear and a lack of belief in ourselves. I think that these are the primary things that keep us stuck in unfulfilling situations. As mentioned before in the intro, we fear financial ruin. We fear not making ends meet each month. We fear not feeling safe, not feeling secure, and not feeling that we're okay. These are all basically fears of failure, in my opinion, and I believe that all of these fears stem from the second part, a lack of belief in ourselves. If we truly believe that we could do anything, be anything, and have the lives that we wanted, the fears wouldn't hold us back. We wouldn't allow what-ifs to prevent us from striking out on our own, from starting that business that we've always dreamed of owning, or from taking that chance to become the writer, musician, actor, or creative that we've always felt that we truly are. And yet we do, time and again. We let our worries and fears, whether justified or not, prevent us from becoming our truest, most authentic selves. So I ask you, my dear listener, is comfort and perceived security really worth this cost? Is that worth it? Time continues to move forward and it quickens as you age. Trust me, I've seen the truth of this in my life. In my childhood, being old was unfathomable. My parents seemed like they were ancient. My grandparents seemed like they were just made of stone because they were so old. As a teenager, I couldn't imagine being 30 years old. That just seemed so far in the distance. At 30, I remember talking to my brother and saying, it's a Tuesday, when he asked me if I felt any different because I'd turned 30. But something interesting happened in my mid to late 30s. I started to look back and realize just how fast time was passing by. How my high school years felt like yesterday in some ways, but like a lifetime ago in others. Now, in my late 40s, and good God, it makes me cringe in some ways to even say that out loud, I've come to realize how quickly time truly passes. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, metaphorically, and be 50. At that point, I'll be closer to 80 years old than I will be to my 21st birthday, and that's not only scary, but it seems impossible. Now, I'm not saying these things to be a downer or to add to your existential dread, if that's even possible in 2023 post-COVID pandemic, but just as a reminder to you. Time marches on, whether we like it or not. So, with that being the case, what's holding you back? Do you want an 85-year-old you to be looking back on your life and saying, if I'd only... ... Because at that point, the clock's almost ran out and you only have so much time left. Regret of not trying, from every older person I've talked to, is much worse than regret of taking a chance and it not working out. You can always course correct. You can always go back to that boring day job, but you won't always have the time to reinvent yourself, to take a chance on you, and to pursue the life that you yearn for, that you truly want, and that the mere thought of excites you beyond all measurable means. We're all put here for a reason. We all have specific gifts that we owe to the world and to ourselves to share and bring to fruition. You are uniquely you, and the world needs the truest, most authentic version of that person. That's why you were put here, and that's what will make this journey meaningful, impactful, and ultimately fulfilling and worthwhile to you. Be sure to tune in next time where we talk more in depth about the common fears of going all in on yourself and ways to combat those fears, including some great information on ways to build your self-confidence and your self-worth, which are the bedrock of doing you to your fullest capacity. Take care, everyone. That's it for this week's episode. I hope that you found the information to be helpful, inspirational, and maybe even a bit entertaining. Remember to subscribe to the pod via your favorite podcasting platform, and rate and leave a review for the podcast if you'd like. 5 stars are always appreciated for that. Additionally, you can find me on social media via Threads and Instagram at Benjamin France LPC, TikTok via Benjamin_France_LPC, and via my website at benjaminfrance.com. I wish you peace, love, and happiness in your life. Until next time, take care, everyone.